All right. According to the U.S. National Institute on Drug Abuse, the total number of deaths in a year for tobacco results in 400,000 people dying per year. For alcohol, it's 100,000, and for caffeine, it's 2,000 people, and even aspirin, it's 500. Can any of you guess how much is associated with marijuana?
Zero.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there are actually like no deaths associated with marijuana, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Today I will be discussing with you the reasons why marijuana should be legalized. I'll be going over with you the harmlessness of the drugs, like the certain myths and misconceptions about the drugs, the social benefits and the economical benefits. I'm not a pot user myself, but I mean, after doing research, just the benefits outweigh the negatives a lot. Okay, so myths and misconceptions about marijuana. First one, it kills brain cells. That's actually not proven to be true, and according to Leslie Iverson, author of Long-Term Effects of Cannabis, there are actually no like scientific evidence that prove this theory that it kills brain cells. And actually what the myth comes from is a test they did in the 50s where they tested like marijuana use on monkeys, and that test was kind of like biased because basically what they did was that they took these gas masks and they just suffocated the monkeys with TCH, and it's just, if you suffocate the monkeys, then their brain cells are going to die, and that's basically how they drew their results from. It damages the lungs more than cigarettes, and that's actually not true. Cigarette smoke actually causes more damage to the lungs because you inhale more cigarette smoke, and marijuana does have irritants in it that aren't good for your lungs, but there hasn't been people who, like the habitual users, they haven't showed any high risk of lung cancer at all. Another myth is that it's addictive, and according to drugpolicy.org, less than 1% of marijuana users smoke it every day. So, another myth is that it's a gateway drug. According to the U.S. National Household Survey on Drug Abuse, most people who smoke marijuana have never tried any other harder drugs. Now I'm going to go over with you the economic benefits of legalizing marijuana. According to Alan Wassler, writer for CNNmoney.com, if marijuana were to be legalized, then we'd actually gain a net worth of like $14 billion a year. This is because you can tax it, and taxing it would get you at least like $10 billion, and then what the rest comes from is saving money on actually enforcing that policy. We spend billions and billions enforcing the law. It is a debatable issue because it's federal law outlaws pot, and even if you vote on it on the state level, it still won't technically be legal because federal law overrides the state law. And yeah, that's also what it can do for the economy is that it creates possible new jobs. It creates you have people growing pot, so I mean obviously they're going to make money off that. You have the paper company, the bong factories. Some social benefits associated with legalizing pot. Easy access to it. It reduces the use of harder drugs because, I mean, you basically eliminate that contact with the drug dealer, and because usually people who deal pot, they deal other drugs too, so that's kind of what gets you into that. It just basically eliminates a lot of dealers, and you get dealers off the streets, you make it safer, you can reduce black market drug crimes, lead to safer streets. There are some risks. I mean, there's like low risk of respiratory disease, and like biologically speaking, it is bad for your lungs, but I mean, no studies have shown any real. It's not a real cause for cancer, and it does lead to accidental injuries. But I mean, looking at cigarettes and alcohol, it's a lot more dangerous than marijuana, and cigarettes and alcohol are actually legal. Yeah, so certain misconceptions about marijuana are going to keep it from being legalized, but if you look at just the facts, then you see that just there are more benefits to legalizing it.
So, Miguel, what did you think?
I thought you opened really well, James, with the use of, here are things that are legal, not, necessarily healthy, but, they're legal under the law and cause people to die more than marijuana. At the beginning, I thought, you might fall into, your persuasive speech turning informative speech, but you, later in your speech, you covered economic benefits and, the ramifications of that, of taxation and stuff. You covered social benefits with, the spread of marijuana and how people would, then be able to get the stuff after legalization. Regarding your presentation, I thought you spoke very clearly. You were loud enough. You weren't fidgeting a lot, and you had good eye contact with the audience.
All right. All right, the statistics at the beginning are okay. I think you always want to be careful about doing an audience survey, and I think you could be a little bit more effective at presenting it on your own. The claim is clearly stated. You do lay out what the structure is going to be. I think you need to do a little bit better signposting internally, because it just seems a little bit like, although you stick to the structure, you're kind of drifting from one idea to the next instead of making it a deliberate argument that's building on a series of claims and inferences, and I think that would be a little bit more convincing. On the content, there are a few source citations here and there. I did think it's a little odd that most of your proof about it being safe is that there's not proof that it's unsafe, and that's not exactly convincing. I think you could find some more. There's plenty of information about this subject that talks about how relatively safe it is, how innocuous it is, how the dangers of particular things are exaggerated, and I think you could have developed that a little bit more. I didn't think that the addiction argument was discussed as thoroughly as it could be. The notion that 1% of the 1% of the users use it on a regular or on a daily basis. If that's the measure of addiction, then I guess that's an okay argument, but I'm not sure that that's in fact the measure of addiction, and so you need to, I think, develop that one a little bit more. I think there are some good arguments to be made about the law enforcement benefits and taking it out of, away from drug dealers, and some potential benefits there that don't get developed very well. You basically make claims about it without giving us much reason to believe that it's true, except that you think that that's what would be the outcome, and I think that there are ways to develop those points too. So the argument's relatively clear. I think it's underdeveloped on most of the points, although there's some material on each of those points. I thought the presentation was pretty good. Your audience contact's okay. Your voice is a little quiet. I thought that you did seem pretty confident. You were standing there and your gestures were appropriate. It's only 6 minutes, so you've got more time to put stuff in there. I hope you didn't feel too intimidated about the subject matter and all that kind of thing, although we made some comments about it. It's not that big a deal, so don't worry about it, okay? All right.